Okay, I'm gonna do a video today talking about the dilemma of the later stages of recovery. The reason it's a dilemma is because most people who get to a place where things are much better, they've been in recovery, let's say a year, and honestly, their life has improved a ton. They're still working on fear of weight gain. They're still adjusting to their new body. Maybe they're still gaining, but there's still quite a bit of rewiring to be done. And people close to them in their life, like spouse, friends, family, coach, think they're doing great because they say they're doing great. No, everything's good. And on paper, it seems like everything should be better, but they still feel like there's a missing link. They still feel like that eating disorder is still there. It's still influencing a lot of their decisions, but they're afraid to speak up, or they're afraid to admit that that is happening, because then maybe people would think that they failed at recovery, or people would question, well, why have you gained all this weight, but you haven't fully rewired? And so it's a very tricky, kind of scary, uncomfortable place to be, because you feel like you kind of lost your support, which you haven't, but you kind of just stopped communicating with your support. You feel like you don't deserve that support anymore, and you feel kind of embarrassed that you're not where you feel like you should be based off of your timeline of recovery, based off of probably things you've seen on social media, or what other people are doing and how long they're taking to recover. And so it's really important, a couple of things here regarding later stages in recovery and support and communication. First of all, go to the people who are closest to you, who have been the most supportive, and tell them, hey, I've gained a lot of weight and I've been in recovery for a year or more, and everything does seem to be better, right? And all of my behaviors are not obvious. And I do seem like I'm just kind of like fitting in with life and going with the flow, and I'm more present. And all of those things seem like they're doing better, but my brain still feels a bit disordered. If you don't communicate that to someone, they have no idea, and they're not going to be checking in with you, and they're probably not going to be asking questions or looking for, things that they can do to continue to support and encourage and challenge you. So first you have to communicate. Then you have to get over feeling ashamed of the fact that you still need help. A couple of clients I spoke with earlier today are kind of in that place where I worked with them for a while and they're doing awesome. Had they continued in that, with that kind of tenacity and commitment level all the way to the end, they'd be there. But they kind of backed off because they got to a place where things were much better. They got to a place where they felt like they couldn't tolerate any more weight gain, and this is where they wanted to stay, and they got locked into that body. They conditioned themselves to be okay in that new size body. But what's happening is this mental hunger is creeping in. It's getting kind of louder and kind of more annoying, and they're realizing, you know what, I really am not fully recovered. I'm not really fully recovered. And so they are reaching out, booking sessions, and are kind of not wanting to admit the fact that they still are struggling with their eating disorder. Don't want to admit it to themselves, don't want to admit it to me, because then there's accountability, and then there's a recognition that there's still work to be done. So I believe as a coach that those later stages are when you need the most support. I've said this before. Oh my gosh, it is such a hard place to be when nobody's down your throat anymore. Nobody's on your back. Nobody's watching every move you make. Nobody's asking you every day how you're doing, or multiple times a day. No one's bringing you food and encouraging you to eat it. No one's asking if you should eat more or you want more. Do you want more food, right? All of that's kind of fallen away. And now it's kind of up to you, at least it feels like it's up to you to kind of iron out the last little eating disordered thoughts and behaviors that you have, primarily being that fear of weight gain that you still have, okay? And so when someone stops before they're fully recovered and they stay there for a while, they get locked into that body, and they also will condition their appetite to be at a new place. So basically what they've done is they've learned a new way of eating that's more than they were doing before, but it's still suppressed. It's just not as suppressed. So the mental hunger is not as loud and annoying, but it's still there. Right? And then they live there long enough and they realize this is still kind of annoying. I'm still under eating. I'm still restricting in some ways. And then they, again, either make a decision to continue on with recovery, fully get there, or they get scared and they back off and they think they're going to maintain there, but they don't. And then they relapse. Typically what happens. And so in order to make the decision to move on and to actually get there and get to full recovery, you have to recommit. And you have to treat this last stage of recovery as serious and as urgent as your very first day that you decided, I'm doing this. I am doing recovery. If you reach out to coach or you're working with me, that first day you remember it was like, I'm doing this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I'm so excited and get my life back, right? That kind of like determination was there. And then it kind of dwindled over time because things got better. And so if you were to think about this, if you were to put all the energy that you did at the very beginning of recovery, all of the tenacity and the determination and the sacrifices you were making and the discomfort you were tolerating, all of that, if you were to instill all of that back into your recovery now, I have no doubt that you would get to full recovery. You would fully rewire, but you feel kind of exhausted. You feel kind of like, I don't want to have to do that anymore. Really? Is that necessary? Really? Yeah, actually it is. Really it is. I promise you, really it is. It's worth it. It's possible, but you have to kind of be honest with yourself. You really have to be honest with yourself and address the situation and know that it takes so much courage and so much bravery to overcome that fear of weight gain. So much. But once you do, you will not feel as uncomfortable as you do now in your body. And you have to trust me on that. And you have to remember that regardless of what size body your natural genetics are, your set point theory or wherever your body's going to land, regardless of what it is, once you've rewired that fear of weight gain, you will not feel the same about your body as you do now. So if you're sitting here listening to this going, Becky, are you kidding me? I've already gained so much weight. If I gain 1 more pound, I will not be able to tolerate it. I will not be able to go outside. I will not be able to be social. I will hide myself like a hermit and never leave my house and I'll be so embarrassed. Actually, you won't, because you'll overcome that fear and you'll drop the fear of judgment of what other people think of you. But you can't stop prematurely or else you're right. You will forever fear those things. Okay. So that's my little pep talk to you today. If you're in that place, reach out for help. Again, it doesn't have to necessarily be a coach. If you can afford a coach, it doesn't have to be me, whatever coach you resonate with, do it. Even if you've never worked with a coach and you're in the later stage and you're like, well, I got this far without a coach. I don't think I really need one. If things aren't changing and you're not making progress, maybe you do. Or maybe you need your husband on board, or maybe you need a best friend that you're going to call every day and check in. I don't know what it's going to be, but something needs to change. You obviously need more support and more accountability to get your butt in gear to get all the way. Okay. Nothing is more painful as a coach to watch clients literally grovel for an entire year and struggle so much and endure so much and then stop prematurely before they get to that freedom part. Is really painful to watch as a coach. So that's where this video is originating from, because I'm very passionate. I'm very passionate about getting people to full recovery, and I get very invested in my clients and I really want them to experience that. And so if you're someone out there listening to this and you have worked with me and you're one of those people waiting and hoping that something changes and it's not, it's gonna have to be you making that change. Okay? So that's my message to you today. Have a good day.